the world was still soft at the edges, humans and spirits shared the land. They lived under the watchful gaze of the great white eagle. Its feathers were the color of new snow. Its eyes held the wisdom of 1,000 sunrises. The eagle was their protector, their guardian. It would soar above the valleys and mountains, a silent promise of safety against the shadows that crept in the dark. Its cry was the sound of morning, a song that told everyone that all was well. The people left offerings of shimmering fish and woven silks at its eyrie on Sky Peak. They loved their eagle, and the eagle in its own vast and silent way seemed to love them back. But love, like all things, can curdle. Pride is a slow poison. The eagle began to see the offerings not as gifts, but as tribute. It saw the people's love not as a partnership, but as worship owed to its might. Its heart, once as open as the sky, began to close. The eagle's shadow, once a comforting shade, grew long and menacing over the land. The eagle's cry was no longer a song of dawn, but a shriek of demand. Storms, once rare, now churned around Sky Peak, born of the eagle's turbulent pride. A protector had become a tyrant. And then, on a day when the moon crept across the sun and plunged the world into a sudden, breathless twilight, a prophecy was whispered. Arya was the child of the eclipse. Born in that strange midday darkness, with the sun a ring of fire in the sky, she was quiet, thoughtful, and her eyes held a depth that seemed older than her years. While other children played with stones and sticks, Arya would sit in the meadows, her head tilted as if listening to a conversation no one else could hear. She felt the moods of the wind. She understood the sigh of the willow tree and the hurried chatter of the brook. An old woman named Alara, who lived at the edge of the village, watched the girl. She had seen the eclipse. She had heard the prophecy. One day, she found Arya by the river trying to coax a small whirlwind of leaves to dance. Alara smiled, a slow, knowing smile. It was time for the lessons to begin. Alara taught Arya that wind was more than just moving air. It was memory. It was emotion. It was the breath of the world itself. Arya learned to close her eyes and let the wind guide her, to feel its currents as if they were extensions of her own senses. She was not learning to command the wind, but to ask it for help. During her lessons, a small, chittering creature with fur the color of moss and eyes like shiny black beads began to follow her. It was a fuzzlet named Kiko. Kiko became Arya's constant companion, a witty and surprisingly wise friend who would help her focus the wind's power with a twitch of his nose, or a flick of his tail. Her magic was not one of force, but of persuasion. It was a partnership. When Arya was old enough, Alara told her of the prophecy and her destiny. She had to face the White Eagle. The path to Sky Peak was not simple. The eagle's prideful magic had warped the land. Arya must pass 3 trials to prove